Hey everybody, CosmicMapping here, and welcome to part 2 of Subscriber Alternate Nations, and there's a few things I want to say before we start. I'll make it really quickly. Really quick. First of all, I want to say, in the last video, a lot of people were asking each other what their nation was, and I want to say, on the title card of the nation where it shows the map and the capital and whatnot, it says, like, under the map who the creator was, so you don't need to ask each other what it was. It just says on the thing. So just want to let you guys know that. And I'm also making a transition in this series where this is less of a single video being split up into multiple parts. I'm thinking about making this a series now. So this is episode 2. And I'll let you guys know in the future when I want to do like a second season of this show. But yeah, we'll say like each season will have 3 episodes, which will showcase some nations I got sent. So this is going to be a regular thing now, so I hope you guys like that. And last but not least, I want to say thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers. That is more than I could have ever thought I would ever get. I've been on YouTube for almost 7 years, and I've never hit this level of success. So thank you guys so much for all your support, and without further ado, let's get into the video. You guys deserve it. Allendor. Capital, Dani. In 1630, many European powers start to fear the expanding Russian Tsardom. In response to this, the European powers create an alliance called the European Alliance to create a united front against Russia. The alliance declares war on Russia in May of 1632. This war not only weakens Russia, but forces Russia to send all of its troops to the Western Front, halting the eastward expansion of Russia. In 1637, the war had become a stalemate for both forces. The European powers, seeking a tactical advantage, began Operation Loop-de-Loop. The operation had European armies and settlers sail across the Arctic Ocean to flank Russia and establish colonies east of the Tsardom. In 1638, the settlers landed and founded the International Colony of the Revolt Russian Tsardom, or the RRT. The RRT had 3 provinces that would eventually become Allendor: Fargonia, Termala, and Igmo. The war ended in 1640, but the colony remained. Fast forward to 1683, and the Russian Tsardom had finally expanded to the borders of the RRT. As soon as the Russians made it to the border, they declared war on the colony and sent troops into northern Fargonia, where the first settlers had landed. The RRT called for General Allen to be chief in war plans during the war. In 1687, against all odds, Allen was able to push back the Russians out of Fargonia and even take some Russian territory. After the war, the RRT requests its independence from the European allegiance. Since it was extremely hard to govern the colony, as the Europeans had to sail across deathly cold waters every single diplomatic mission, they gave the colony its independence, and the new nation of Revolt Russian Tsardom was born. RRT went with an autocratic hereditary monarchy as its government, with General Allen being the first king. But not once in its history did the RRT have a tyrannical king. King Allen himself said, "The leader of this nation shall have their offspring taught the ways of non-tyranny, or else they shall be imprisoned and the people choose their leader." Because of King Allen's success in running the nation, Allen's son King Allen II renamed the nation Allenland, but the next king changed it to Allendor, as this sounded better. Fast forward to the late 1700s, and Allendor is a global power, being very involved in world affairs. For example, in the 1800s, Allendor convinces Alaska not to join the United States and instead become its own nation. Alaska agrees it would be a better choice for them, and the Republic of Alaska is born. After Allendor helped Alaska gain independence, King Allen VI was assassinated by American extremists while on a diplomatic mission in Alaska, ending King Allen I's bloodline. Elections were held, and Allendor almost got its first tyrannical king, Khan Jevenstein. But luckily he lost by 2%, and King Jared Palamein was elected into office. Palamein saw how easy it would be for a tyrant to take office, so he changed the government to a system where the nation would be ruled by 1 ruler, 2 senators, and a court. A few decades later, in 1893, the United States declares war on Allendor for their role in the independence of Alaska years prior. The US had a larger army than Allendor, but Allendor had a much larger navy. Ruler Serban I knew this and used their navy to completely destroy the first American invasion force at the Battle of the Diana Strait. Later in 1901, after many more failed invasion attempts, the United States signed a peace treaty with Allendor. This victory gave Serban I and the people of Alandor a thirst for war and expansion, and Alandor invaded and conquered Manchuria and Korea. 10 years later, the warlike spirit of the people calmed down and the next ruler gave these regions independence, creating the nations of Rangok and Korea. Alandor sided with the Allies in World War II and became a superpower shortly after. Today, Alandor is a global superpower in the ranks of the United States and Russia. It is mostly a peaceful nation, but is not afraid to use its gigantic army. The Storbate Empire. Capitals Lübeck, Hamburg, Bremen, Gdansk, Copenhagen, Aarhus, Odense, Lund, Malmö, Stockholm, Riga, Novgorod, Amsterdam, and The Hague. Yeah, and because I'm an idiot and made 2 maps of this accidentally, here is a map of the full Storbate Empire. The Hanseatic League is never destroyed and keeps growing economically and geographically. Its relations with the Kingdom of Denmark also continue to grow. Eventually, the relations between the two grow so strong they decide to unite and form the Storbate Republic, based heavily on trade and ruling the sea. The capital is changed every 4th year to make sure a balance is kept in the large republic. Slowly but surely, this new power conquered trade center after trade center, until it became strong enough to call itself an empire. The empire then established colonies in South Africa, Western Australia, Malta, the Gold Coast, and Eastern North America. Today, the Storbate Empire is still in the top 10 largest economies and militaries in the world. Europe is reliant on the empire's economic muscle, and an embargo would be fatal for many countries. The only real threat to the empire is the Adriatic privateer state of Venice, capital none. The Republic of Venice begins expanding rapidly across the Adriatic, and maybe a little too rapidly. Rebellions break out all over the nation, but unbelievably, instead of many small states declaring independence, the rebel leaders come together and declare the Adriatic privateer state of Venice. This new nation is based heavily on anarchy among the people, with multiple clans of pirates ruling different sections of the nation. The largest of these clans is the Enrico Banner, run by Vinny Enrico. The Enrico Banner practically rules the entire Adriatic, plundering all ships that come in sight. This makes trade almost impossible, and this is why most parts of the nation are very poor, especially inland regions. The only way to enter this nation is to bribe the leader of the Enrico Banner or another pirate clan, once again making trade nearly impossible. The only real threat to this nation is the Storbate Empire, as they have established a major naval base on the island of Malta and are trying to protect trading ships from being plundered by the Enrico Banner. Mississippi, capital Jackson. In this timeline, Mississippi is a part of the British Empire instead of the French, and decides to rebel against Britain around the same time as the United States. Today, Mississippi is a nuclear power, has over 3 times the population of Mississippi in our timeline, and is very active in the War on Terror. And that's about it. Free America, capital New York City. In this timeline, the expansionist attitude of the United States after gaining freedom never exists, so the 13 colonies decide not to expand, letting Canada take over the rest of North America. Today, Free America is a strong ally with its superpower neighbor and frequently helps Canada in their world affairs. The Anglo-German Union, capitals London and Berlin. In this timeline, relations between the British and German empires are much stronger than they ever were in ours, and in 1910 they agree to unite their 2 empires and form the Anglo-German Union. 4 years later in World War I, them along with Italy side with the Central Powers and decisively win the war. The Anglo-German Union annexes all of France's colonies while Belgium and Italy split up mainland France. They also install puppet governments in Poland and the Baltic states. Later, they invade Denmark and Norway, which also become puppets by the end of the war. Today, the Anglo-German Union is the most prosperous nation in the world and have large ecosystem conservation efforts.